So from that point on, from September 15th, 1984 until now, I don't leave games early. I don't care if they're losing 20-1. I don't leave games early.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I am one of your esteemed hosts, Stacey Gotsulias. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Let's go.
Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. On today's show, it seems the Dodgers are still talking trash nearly a month after the World Series. We'll discuss that in segment 3. How Steinbrenner speaks out about the meeting with Juan Soto. Kind of interesting quotes we'll discuss in segment 2. But first, it's Throwback Thursday, and we are going back 40 whole years to 1984. I figured I'd give Brian a history lesson since he wasn't born until 13 years later.
Yeah.
All right. So 1984 wasn't a special team. Yogi Berra was the manager, so that was cool, but they finished 87 and 75. That put them in third place in the AL East behind Detroit and Toronto. Detroit went on famously to win the World Series in 1984, and they were incredible.
They had an absurd start, right? Wasn't it like 30-3 or something stupid?
I'm about to mention it. Just a second.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Before the season started, they traded longtime Yankee third baseman Greg Nettles to the Padres, who the Tigers faced in the World Series. And they also traded Otis Nixon and George Frazier for Toby Harrah from the Cleveland then Indians. Detroit started the year 35-5 and ran away with the division. They finished 17 games ahead of the Yankees. They finished with 104 wins and just steamrolled their way to the World Series. So 1984 was Don Mattingly's first, I'll say it's his first full-time season, because in 83 he played 91 games, but he played right field, he played first base, he was wearing 46, then he changed to 23. So this was the first year that he was at first base, that he was number 23, and it was amazing what he did in his first full-time season with the Yankees. He was neck and neck with Dave Winfield for the batting title. This is a famous story too, because it was literally down to the last day of the season. Winfield was sitting at 341 when the day started. Mattingly was sitting at 339. And on that last day against Detroit, who threw a rookie pitcher out there and let the Yankees win because they had everything locked up and they didn't care, Mattingly went 4 for 5. Winfield went 1 for 4. So Winfield finished at 341 and Mattingly, or 340, and Mattingly finished at 343 and won the batting title in his first full-time year.
Those averages alone are absurd. Just because in today's era, you get a power hitter that hits 243, and you're like, oh, solid year from him. Full 100 points more, and that's the race for the batting title. It really is absurd.
Yeah. So Mattingly led the team in WAR at 6.3. Winfield was second at 5.3. Mattingly also led the team in games played, 153. He had 603 at-bats, 207 hits, 110 RBIs. Willie Randolph and Winfield finished second and third in games played at 142 and 141, respectively. Don Baylor led the team with 27 home runs. Mattingly finished with his number 23, and Winfield hit 19. And 500-year-old Phil Niekro, he wasn't 500, but he looked 500 in 1984, led the team in innings pitched with 215 and 2/3. He also led the team in wins with 16, and he led the team, and this is funny because we discussed Garrett Cole's 2019 season and how he led the league with 326 strikeouts. Phil Niekro led the Yankees with 136 strikeouts.
It's insane. It's insane, especially in today's era where guys are routinely striking out 200 times.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So I told you guys how the Yankees finished 87 and 75, and this is why. They started the year off terribly in April, went 8-13. So that was their worst month of the season. Their best month of the season was August of 1984. They went 21 and 10. That's right. 31 games played in that month because they
didn't give them a day off.
No, they had 3 doubleheaders.
Jeez.
There were 3 doubleheaders and there were 2 within like a week of one another. Like they were all bunched together. Yeah. Yeah. So they finished July, August, and September above 500 after starting the year going under 500 in April, May, and June, which is why they finished at 87 and 75. So they started off slow and then picked it up towards the end. Now, personally, this was exciting for me, but they won on my 10th birthday on August 26, 1984. Okay. They were in Seattle. Niekro was the winning pitcher, and I have to read off the lineup from that day because there's one guy that I don't remember for the life of me, but I remember everyone else.
Okay.
Leading off, Bobby Meacham, who played shortstop. Tim Foley, who played second base. Have no recollection of this guy, and he played for like every team ever. He started in the 70s, and he played for Montreal. He played for the Mets. He played for the Yankees. He played for like 9 different teams. Mattingly was batting third. At first, Winfield was in right field. Don Baylor was DH. Ken Griffey Sr. left field. Mike Pagliarulo at third base. Omar Moreno center field, and Rick Cerrone was the catcher.
Wow.
Yeah. Madingley, Winfield, and Griffey all hit home runs. They won 7-2 over the Mariners in Seattle. And just fun facts from 1984. The number 1 movie in the month of August of 1984 was Ghostbusters. Not surprising. Okay. I saw that in the theater. I saw Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Karate Kid, The Last Starfighter. I'm trying to think of all the movies I saw during that summer.
Terrific year for movies, by the way. And also terrific year for music.
Yes. The number 1 song that week that I went to, or that they won on my birthday, What's Love Got to Do With It by Tina Turner.
Wow. Okay. I was thinking more from rock music because Ride the Lightning, 1984, Born in the USA comes out. Great year for music also.
Yep. And then 1984 was the year that I famously went to 10 games. They won 9 in a row. And then on September 15th, 1984, when they were playing the Red Sox, it was a Saturday, I was sitting in the loge section with my uncle George and my father. My uncle got the tickets because he worked for Atlantic Records at the time. And I think they either had a box in the loge or they had tickets in the loge section at the old stadium. Okay. We were sitting between home plate and third base. I was wearing my favorite strawberry shortcake outfit because I didn't own Yankee stuff back then. I would just wear my regular clothes to the Yankee games. I didn't start getting I didn't start getting Yankee paraphernalia until I was in high school for some reason. And at one point during the game, I felt the fever coming on. And I didn't want to tell my dad, but he could see that something was wrong with me because I was lethargic and he felt my head. And he insisted we leave. I didn't want to leave. The Yankees were leading 3-1. So we have to leave because the fever's getting worse. We're on the Major Deegan, and the Yankees give up the lead, and they're losing 4-3. And they end up losing that game 4-3. And I blamed myself for about 5 years after that because they won every other game I went to. They won the first 2 games I ever went to in 1983, and then the 1 game I leave early. So from that point on, from September 15th, 1984, until now, I don't leave games early. I don't care if they're losing 20-1. I don't leave games early ever.
It seems reasonable. I get it. There's a prior transgression, so I understand.
Yeah. The thing about 1984 was that was the year, and it's funny because if you're Gen X, if you're not older Gen X, because I'm not older Gen X, I'm one of the younger Gen X's because Gen X starts in 1964. I was born in 74. But between me and my brother, I was the Madingley person. He was the Winfield person. He's 4 years younger than me. Okay. And that's how it was with a lot of Yankee fans. You either loved Madingley or Winfield. It was almost like you didn't love both of them at the same time. You were just a Madingley person or a Winfield person. I was a Madingley person. And when I got my first 2 cats, 21 years ago, I was this close to naming them Madingley and Winfield, but I went with Shaq and Henry instead. But I was really close. Like, I was going back and forth and thinking, like, that would actually be kind of cool to name my cats Madingley and Winfield. But then there was also a part of me in the back of my head that said, but what if I get married? I always wanted to name my first child Madingley. So I was like, all right, let me do different names. And here we are. I don't have kids.
I guess you clinged to players back then, right? Because they didn't make deep playoff runs. They weren't like they weren't a perennial playoff team. So that was what you were clinging to. Yeah. It's crazy.
The Madingley Winfield batting title race was the thing for the season because there was no shot at the division. There was really there was no shot of the playoffs at all. So that was what we had in that year. And
how good in reality was that Tigers team?
Oh my God. Yeah. They were amazing. I knew they were going to win that World Series. I watched that World Series with my dad, and I remember thinking that they were going to win. I also remember there was a show on HBO at the time called Not Necessarily the News. And it was basically a news spoof show. And it was very funny. And they had skits and they had like fake news reports. So they did, I'll never forget, they did this fake news report about the Tigers winning the World Series. And then they flashed a burning Tiger Stadium, like in ruins on the screen. And I've never forgotten that because I thought that was really funny. So yeah, that's 1984. Nothing to write home about overall, but the Madingley Winfield stuff was fun. Watching, again, Phil Niekro, who looked like he was about 65. He really wasn't, but he had gray hair and, he was a knuckleballer. He didn't throw the ball hard, but he, 215 and 2/3 innings. He threw a lot, like in seasons where he led the league in wins in the 70s, he would also lead the league in losses. Like he'd finish like 19 and 16. So his overall, if you look at his overall numbers, they're kind of hilarious because he threw a knuckleball. So he just was able to throw as much as possible.
R.A. Dickey-esque.
Yes. So that's your history lesson in 1984.
I appreciated it. Thank you.
Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go live. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades, signings, news. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. And we have a good group of people over there, and it's a lot of fun. So coming up next, Hal Steinbrenner speaks out about meeting with Juan Soto, but doesn't say a lot.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Guys, I'm about 2.5 hours away from hopping on a plane to Indianapolis to go to the Colts-Lions game, but more importantly, to go to Ohio State versus Indiana. All those college football playoff rankings just came out, so you can get involved in all of that and a lot more as the season winds down, available on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And thanks again for making Locked On Yankees. I apologize. Your first listen every day. And remember that every Friday is Fan Mail Friday. You can leave questions underneath the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. Everyone there gets top priority during Fan Mail Friday. The link is in the description. Stacey, I apologize for the end of the read right there. I was distracted with 1984 news. Felt like I was back when computers probably didn't even exist at that point, right?
They did too.
Were you up on your MacBook yet, or
the Macintosh existed?
Yeah, I was thinking because I'm getting on an airplane in about 2 hours. What was the process like getting on a plane back then? Did you just walk right on?
Well, getting on a plane, you could go if your friend was going on a plane and you didn't have a ticket. You go right up to the gate, wave goodbye to them as they got on.
I don't remember that era ever.
There was smoking and non-smoking also seats and sections of the airplane, which is crazy to me. I remember it well too, because the first time I was on a plane, I was 2. Don't remember that much, but I do remember my first 747 that I was on. They gave me a red delicious apple, and I was like 3 at the time, and I thought it was the best thing ever. And I could see the stairs that went up to the lounge, and I was just like, "This is the biggest thing I've ever been in." It was amazing.
Yeah. I haven't been on a plane like that yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, I will be on a plane in a few hours, and I am fascinated by airports. I have like a weird obsession with airports that I love. I don't understand it, can't comprehend it. A guy who was recently on a plane is Hal Steinbrenner. And they had this meeting with Juan Soto that happened and supposedly went well, which here's my thing on that. First of all, Yankee fans need to take a second and breathe. Not every piece of news that comes out on Juan Soto has to be the end-all be-all freak-out session that you see on social media.
Right.
Every session supposedly has gone well between every team. Remember, the Red Sox session went well. The Blue Jays session went well. The Mets session went well. And now the Yankees session, surprisingly to no one, went well. I guess the only reason you have to be concerned is if one of these goes poorly. Then I'd freak out if that report comes out. Here's my thing, though. They keep telling everybody when this news comes out that the financials have not been discussed. That Boris and Soto don't want to discuss financials. They don't want to get involved with all of that. Stacey, if financials aren't being discussed, then what are they talking about at these meetings?
Right.
In all seriousness, what's being talked about? Because we're all under the assumption that Juan Soto's going to the highest bidder. We all know that. We're all in agreement of it. What are we discussing at these meetings if financials aren't being discussed? He knows. Why were the Yankees meeting with him, quite frankly? He knows everything there is to know about the Yankees. He's been in the clubhouse. He's seen the training facilities. He knows what spring training is like. He knows what it's like to play in the Bronx. He knows what the media is like. He knows everything there is to know. What is he gaining by speaking to Hal? And what is Hal going to tell him? We want to win still. That's what he basically told him. If you look at the quotes from the report earlier today, and I want to get your opinion on this, Hal assured Juan Soto that the Yankees will still continue to do everything imaginable to stay a contender and win and spend money and yada, 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 while they give Juan Soto $100 billion to come sign.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, are you getting anything out of these meetings, or is it getting to the point with you, like it's getting to with me, of just sign already? Just sign already and let me know where you're going, because at this point it's getting,
it's funny to even say that because it's only November 20th. We're not even at Thanksgiving yet, and we're all just sick of the discourse at this point. And we knew it was going to be like this because it's Juan Soto, and we knew that everyone was going to be after him. Now we're hearing that the Phillies are going to be in the mix. We're hearing that the Dodgers are in there. And why not? I mean, every team should be on Juan Soto. On Juan Soto. Juan Soto will make every team better.
Yep. No, you're right. I agree with you completely. I still, again, I don't believe the Dodgers are involved. I do think the Phillies are gonna creep their little head around because they always.
No, there was a report. No, there was a report that the Dodgers are involved. Locked On Rockies actually did an episode about it, saying, "What are we gonna do if the Dodgers get Juan Soto?" Because the Rockies are just like, we don't do anything.
My thing with the Dodgers rumor is, again, Boris does this every year. There's been a multitude of free agents that we've thought the Yankees over the last few years wanted nothing to do with, and all of a sudden you see a report that comes out, the Yankees are all of a sudden involved, and lo and behold, it winds up being a Boris client, and really you want to find out the Yankees never really were involved. Again, these teams can't deny involvement with the free agent. So the Juan Soto news, that I guess we had an interruption there, Stacey. You can talk about it. I don't really care.
We're getting our roof fixed, and this has been like a multi-month fiasco. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing banging out literally right outside my window. And I'm like, what? I don't know what was going on. I thought someone climbed up my house to do something because it's 5:03 on Wednesday. Hello. And it's dark out. Why are they here?
It's fine. The ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan once gracefully said.
Oh
I want to mention with the Juan Soto stuff, and I want to leave this here. We have to all remember that when teams are involved, the agent has every ability to say X, Y, and Z team is involved, and the team cannot deny the rumor. So I'm going to stand by that. If he signs with the Dodgers, I'll gladly come on Locked On Yankees every single day, and all year I'll eat it and say that I will stand by the Dodgers not involved. I think they'll speak to him, because why would they not? Because what if Juan Soto has this childhood dream of wanting to be a Dodger and so desperately will sign there for 1 year and $5? The Dodgers don't know that. They'll ask, okay. And if he says no, I don't think there's a chance he's onto the Dodgers. I don't think they're involved, seriously. I do think the Phillies are involved, and I do think they're going to be a team that creeps in. The team that I think, and I've heard this from people that are in the know, the team that I think will cause a problem for everybody and is looking to cause a problem for everybody is the Toronto Blue Jays. They are apparently ready and willing to spend money and ready and willing to drive the cost up. That could wind up being what hurts the Yankees. The Yankees want to get themselves in a two-man bidding war between them and Steve Cohen. That's their best chance. And make Juan Soto make the decision when it's just money, and make him make a decision. Do you want money or do you want the Yankees? And make him because they'll get the offer close enough where I think they'll make Juan Soto have to make a tough decision. If the Toronto Blue Jays get involved and they keep driving up the price, that's going to really hurt the entire negotiation. And that's the team that I believe is going to be the one involved. I can't imagine the Phillies going to that high of a price tag for Juan Soto because their luxury tax number at this point, they're locked into all their salaries like through 2026 at this point. Their luxury tax would go to like $380 million if they added Juan Soto. It would be something insane. I just, I hear these Hal reports where he's assuring Soto that they're going to be competitive and they're going to spend money besides him. Why is anything less than that expected? Why is he saying that like other teams won't do that? That report to me made no sense, but that's the era of baseball we live in, I guess.
Here's the thing. I unmuted myself. I had to mute myself because they're really loud. These are two quotes from him about this. He said, "We listened to our fans. Our fans really enjoyed having him, Soto, in New York. He's definitely a significant part of why we got to the World Series. I've got ears. I know it's expected of me. It's been a priority. We wouldn't have gone out to the West Coast to meet with Soto and Scott Boras if it wasn't." And then on the other hand, at the owners' meeting, they asked him how confident he is at this point that the Yankees will sign Soto. And he said, "No idea. We'll be in the mix. I'll leave it at that." Oh, great. All right. Because, okay, that's really going to make Yankee fans very not crazy.
Yeah, I think at this point, Yankee fans, you shouldn't. That's why I think financials not being discussed in these meetings makes no sense. What are you guys talking about? Every team's going to give you the same spiel. Oh, it's great to play in this city. We have a passionate fan base. We're trying to win a World Series. Michael Kay made a great point. If all these teams are just speaking to him and financials aren't involved, then why aren't the Cincinnati Reds meeting with him? Why aren't the White Sox meeting with him? I mean, why doesn't every team meet with him? Because the Redskins say, "Oh, we have Terry Francona. You can hit behind Ellie De La Cruz." I mean, there's a motive, right? Every team should be meeting with Juan Soto. So I don't, really, I don't think you're getting a lot of information out of these meetings like that is actually truthful. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, we're just going to be talking about this for the rest of the offseason until he gets on.
Can't wait. Really excited.
Just a warning. So coming up next, the Dodgers are still talking trash about the World Series, and it's another player who was on the bench. This is my thing about this. I didn't even know about this. Apparently, it was posted on Twitter on Tuesday, but I didn't see it until Wednesday because I've been avoiding Twitter at all costs. I moved over to Blue Sky. If you want to follow me there, I'm at Stacey Scott, same name as my Twitter handle. So Chris Taylor was on a podcast, basically saying the same nonsense that Joe Kelly was saying, that they anticipated the Yankees were going to blow Game 5. Really? Because up until that inning where everything fell apart, Garrett Cole had basically a no-hitter happening. Mm-hmm. The Yankees had scored 5 runs. You guys looked like you were dead in the water. You had lost the previous game. What was it, 11-4? So, you thought that, oh, yeah, we're definitely coming back. Get out of here. First of all, you weren't even playing. You were on the bench. Why are you talking right now? I don't understand this. I don't understand. It's nearly a month now, right? It's November 20th as we record this. They won the World Series on October 30th. After about a week, World Series stuff is done. You move on. It's football season. It's hockey season. It's basketball season. Like, you celebrate for your time. But how come it's 3 weeks later and you're still crowing about this when you had, Mr. Taylor, nothing to do with anything that happened in that game?
Yeah, that's what's funny. The lack of involvement that came from, like, I guess you got Dodger pride, and that's good for you if you played for the Dodgers, but it's not your championship. You had nothing really to do with this. So I find it really strange to be out here talking smack after you didn't really do anything or have anything to do with the championship. Just weird. I don't know what he has against the Yankees. Maybe it's Yankee fans in his mentions. I don't know what it is, but you give a former player a voice, and there it is. He's gonna keep talking and talking all the smack that he possibly could. It's just very strange to talk like this after you won.
Right. Like they're talking a lot of crap. They're talking a lot of crap. Yes.
It's so strange.
I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm of the belief that you talk trash after you win if, like, I don't know. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels weird coming from them because the Dodgers don't seem like that type of team where they would talk that much smack. And again, it's two guys who had no involvement in the World Series because they were on the bench or they weren't playing or they weren't on the roster. They were just there. They didn't play. So I don't understand. Like Mookie Betts isn't talking smack. Freddie Freeman isn't talking smack.
Those guys don't need to. Like their play speaks for itself. Like Mookie Betts doesn't need to talk trash. Mookie Betts talked all the trash he needed to by hitting, and he didn't even hit that well in the World Series. But right. Freddie Freeman talked all the trash he needed to by hitting a 900-foot home run that still hasn't landed off Nestor Cortez.
And hitting like 8 altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't need to talk trash, So that's the kind of difference with those guys as opposed to guys that don't even make the roster. It just, I agree with you. I find it unbelievably fascinating that guys are still, you had a parade. You celebrated. You got to do everything possible.
Within the week of the win, so you have the day of the win, the day after the win, when you're still celebrating, flying back to LA, having your parade, doing all that stuff. And then it's done. Why are you still talking about this the week before Thanksgiving? I don't understand. I don't get it. It's just, it's odd to me. I don't appreciate it. It's making me not like the Dodgers. And I'm going back to the way I was as a kid because I was brought up to not like the Dodgers, the Royals, and the Red Sox. So fine, I'll go back to not liking the Dodgers again. You did it, Chris Taylor. You did it, Joe Kelly. Congratulations. Now I'm going to root against you guys all the time.
What an unfortunate. I'm sure that they're having trouble falling asleep because of that. What an unfortunate state of affairs. You don't have to hate the Royals. I think you might develop a Royals hatred though coming up in the next couple of years because of how good the Royals are going to be. And I don't think there's.
I didn't really hate them in 2014 or 15 when they were good and they made the World Series and then won the World Series. They didn't really bother me because it was more George Brett, because George Brett was the part of the Royals that we were taught not to like because he was just so good and so annoying that.
But I feel like the Yankees could wind up playing them in a couple more playoff series coming down the road.
It's possible
because the Royals are just going to be they're going to be a good young team.
It's possible.
We'll see. It's so funny when stuff like this happens because. The talking, you don't need to talk trash anymore. Like you won. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to fight with the guy who also had a crush on the girl if you got the girl. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, it's so strange, weird, and petty. Yeah.
Like, congrats. You won the World Series. We accepted that you won the World Series. Good for you.
It's over.
You won a real World Series. Finally. After all those years. Good for you. But why do you have to be this way? You don't. Like, could you imagine like Ben Rice going on a podcast and being like, oh, like if the tables were turned and he was sitting on the bench, well, oh yeah, we knew that the Dodgers were going to, you'd be sitting there going, the hell are you talking about?
Well, I guess that's the equivalent, right? I mean,
or Marcus Stroman, who didn't pitch.
Marcus Stroman's the equivalent because Marcus Stroman's got the ego where he would have talked smack.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent, which it would have been funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't like it. Not 3 weeks after. Within the week, sure. Talk all your stuff. Do it. But not now. Sorry, Chris Taylor.
I love how much it bothers you. I really do.
Well, normally it doesn't bother me, but I never knew how obnoxious Dodger fans could be until we played them head to head. Okay. I never realized it. And I follow a lot of Dodgers fans. I'm friends with Dodgers fans. Like I follow a lot of them. I realized on social media when the World Series was going on, I was like, wow, I follow way too many of them now. Like this is ridiculous. And they're all still posting stuff. So the fans are doing the same thing. Like I'm still seeing things in Instagram stories and I'm like, all right, okay. Like relax now.
It's over.
It's been over. Just stop. So yeah, because I wouldn't do that as a Yankee fan. I would have stopped after like a few days because I go from one sport to the other. It's like, all right, baseball's over. Let's get into the Knicks. Let's get into, well,
I
I'm
would
wearing the Giants, but I wouldn't be.
At this point, there's no way I would have cared at this point. I mean, it's over again. The World Series is over. Like, I don't know why you'd care at this.
We're moving on to 2025. We're moving on to worrying about where Juan Soto will end up and if the Yankees have any shot in hell to sign him. That's our worry.
And that probably won't stop ever.
No. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget, tomorrow is Fan Mail Friday. If you are listening to this early or watching this early on Thursday, get those questions in under the pinned comment on YouTube, and I will answer them for you. Brian will be in Indianapolis. I will be doing Fan Mail Friday by myself. Ask me anything you want.
Oh, God.
I'm giving you permission to ask me anything you want because I want this to be fun for me and not just be boring baseball questions because it's the off season. I can't answer all these questions 50 times because it's always the same thing, which it's understandable. There's nothing happening, but let's have some fun on Fan Mail Friday. So yeah, ask me anything. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you tomorrow.
I will. He won't.